Hi, everyone. I'm Sandra Ingerman, and welcome to the Shaman's Cave.
And I'm Renee Barabo, and we are so excited you're here.
Yeah, so we thought today we did a show on roadmaps, and we've been doing shows on really how to walk through the times that we're going through right now, because we're all dealing with a lot, and people are being overwhelmed on all different levels, and it's actually interesting that it's different. It makes sense, of course, that the challenges are very different for the different generations, but you're really seeing different generational challenges coming up uh, that there's always been generational challenges, but it seems like there's more of a split right now of the challenges that people in different age groups are going through. And what I've learned um, through my own journeys and through my own life and through my mother, who had a strength that it was amazing to watch her. It was just amazing to watch her. She was faced with so many challenges, but she never allowed life to take her down. She had this unbelievable passion for being in a body, and she died at 98 and a half, and she didn't want it. She wanted to make it to 100 or more. She so wanted that. And so, as I've shared on some shows, I'm an observer, and I observed my mother constantly because I watched her go through unbelievable things, but she went through with a strength. And so my mother's gone, and I don't have her as my role model of strength anymore. So I have to find it inside of myself. And so I've done a lot of journeys around it and just life experience, and seeing that how my strength has gotten me through so much in life that I have the same strength as my mother. And it's all about your inner fire. We go back to the elements again. Where does that inner strength come from? That inner strength comes from fire, because we have earth, air, fire, water around us on the earth, but where earth, water, air, and fire, our bodies are, we're made up of those elements. And it's that spiritual fire that burns inside of us. And you see this in pictographs and petroglyphs, and you hear about it in different stories about, and I share constantly about, I feel that one of the keys of living a good life is finding what you feel passionate about and not deadening yourself so much that you're just a robot trying to get through the next hour, um, but that you're really a part of nature and a human being, and it's that inner fire that gives us the spiritual strength and the passion to be able to get through the challenges that we're going through. And in indigenous cultures, the brutality of their initiations, they were brutal, was people had to get into their inner fire or they died. Um, if their inner fire could not get them through the initiation, they didn't have the strength to be able to add to the community. Um, and that's what communities needed. They needed people with the inner fire so that everybody was feeding the strength of the community.
I find that, first of all, I want to say that you absolutely got that gene from your mother. There's just no doubt about it. There's been at times in these last 4 years where they're like, God, that woman can persevere through anything, and I just, applaud you for that, because you've been such a good role model, of good roadmap for me to walk through. Not to mention at so many other levels, that you spent all those 25, 30 years, 40 years teaching. And so like I'll come with this like new experience and be like, oh yeah, I've been through that fire too, Renee. So it's just like, really, and all your students know that you really are an exemplary example, and your mother would be very proud. So you did get that. But I always kind of wonder about this inner fire. Like my mother told me stories about when my sister and I, my older sister who passed this year, and I were, she could leave her on the living room floor and come back 2 hours later, and she would basically still be right there. She'd leave me in the living room floor, and she'd be hunting down the street for me, you know, a street block over at 3, like that it just, I went and she stayed. And so I think that being able to fan that inner fire, I wonder if it's something that we come in with, or is it something we can develop? What do you think about that?
Well, I think a lot of people come in with it, because we're seeing. I do a lot of shamanic work on kids,
Hmm.
and I always have. It's one of the things that I really love doing. And so when I work on newborn babies, and I work on a lot of babies, uh, you know, they're in serious condition. They're in hospitals. They're in critical condition. They're on chemo. I worked with a child who was on chemo for years. And I'll journey to them and I'll say, it's okay to go.
Hmm.
And they go, no, I'm not going anywhere. And I do the healing work with my helping spirits, and they get better, or they don't get better, and they stay around for years, inspiring every single person who steps into their presence due to their perseverance. And so I have been blown away over the 40 years that I've been working on children of the strength. It's like, my God, how do you do this? And and so there are children who are born with it, but I've also watched growing up in Brooklyn. I watched the mothers who didn't let their children go out to play because they didn't want them to be in the streets by themselves. Over nurtured. They were so fearful of letting their children do anything. They always pulled them back. I had friends in Brooklyn who were never allowed to come out and play ball with us, because their mothers were too afraid of them getting hurt. And so when that happens, a child might have their real inner fire and be rebellious and end up living a rebellious life, or they become sucked into what's happened to a lot of people in the collective, where we just follow what we're told to do, and we might give it some thought and we might not, but we were told to do it, so we do it anyway. And and that could be a case where we can say a person needs a little bit more inner fire to stoke their own opinions and their own choices and their own way of moving forward. And why did I come in here to begin with? What was the attraction to come into the earth? And then following that passion. So I think that some people are born with that strength. I think actually most of us are born with that strength, but I believe that a lot of that inner strength is just conditioned out of us.
Yeah, with the we were like the be seen and not heard, you know, do this, do that, don't do that, and all of those choices we get to make. I mean, I was a rebel. I just was rebellious. I mean, my older sister was always mortified by the fact that, like, I wore what I wanted. I dressed for warmth and not. I still dress for warmth and not not glamour. But I never. There's certain things like that my inner fire always pushed me further, and I know that's true with you as well. But here we are at a doorway where, we were talking about maps last time, where there's just so much uncertainty, and how do you get back some of the fire to get moving forward in our life right now? It's a little bit tricky. I was looking at ideas of a vacation, and I was like, okay, do I really? I don't have much of an inner fire to go on vacation, although, to go through the whole process of it. How do we get those inner fires? And I think we're going to do a journey on that today. How do we get those inner fires stoked again? And as we were talking about it, I keep thinking of Ilmarinen, the wind god, stoking up the smithy. How do you get that fire going for that magic to happen? Because you need some combustion there in order to get moving forward. I think for me, I don't move forward without some kind of combustible activity, whether it's a good one or not. Like I was so tired last month that I had to take a rest. That was a combustible activity. I was like so over myself, tired, that I had to rest. Like, how do we stoke those fires so that they burn more evenly or not? And I'm not judging whether or not that works for you or not, but for me, it's just like, then if there's no combustion, they're like, oh well, I'm really bored, and life is, there's nothing going on, so read a book.
Right. And the other side of that is your inner fire can be burning too strong.
Hmm.
And what I find when I've worked with people and students who complain about anxiety, and you know, pretty much most of the world is in anxiety today. Um, I have people journey to their inner fire and look at how to just balance it out a little bit so that it's not burning like a wildfire through
Hmm.
your body. Because if it's burning like a wildfire through your body, it's going to create feelings of anxiety for you. So it's all about balance. Everything in nature is about balance. And
Hmm.
again, we're nature beings, so everything about us is about finding balance. And and so we have to discover if we have fire inside of us that's just kind of turned down to sparks, and so we don't have the fuel to push us forward, and that fuel is not just physical. I'm not dealing with a physical lack of fire, but I'm dealing with a mental lack of fire. Where it's like I gotta fire up that it's time to get back out again and enjoy life, and so it's more of a mental issue for me. So where is that imbalance in your body, and where does that fire need to be stoked? Is it just a little spark, and that spark needs to get some air on it to get it going? Or is your fire just going wild, and you need to spend more time grounding on the earth, and you need some more time in water, to try and find that balance? And we don't realize how much the elements really affect us inside of our body, how the waters in our body are reflecting the pollution of the waters, pollution of the world, and how the what the winds are doing. Our bodies also doing the same way the winds are. The winds are blowing differently inside our bodies. And think about the COVID, it was a breathing issue, an air issue, for many people. So the elements are speaking to us. They're really speaking to us. They are, I said in a roadmap show, you can really see the elements as a roadmap. They're telling us what to do. Your wind is too strong, calm it down. Your fire's too strong, calm it down. You don't have enough, you're flooding, you're underwater. um, do something. um, you don't have enough earth in you, you're floating out of your body. You're not here. Or earth yourself a little bit, get that earth element going. So, to me, I really feel that the key of the people who are, a lot of people are going to make it who don't have their inner fire going. That's part of nature too, is not everything in nature is strong, but still can absorb the sun and finds way to keep going. But it's the beings in nature that really have that inner strength, that real spiritual strength, that thrive. And so you have to ask yourself the question, are you thriving, or are you just trying to get through your day? And there are many, many tools that Renee and I teach about that. But what we're trying to do on this show is teaching that the element of fire is one of those tools, to help you not feel like you're dragging yourself through your day or trying to get through your day, but is giving you the fuel, um, to walk with passion through your day, um, which is a challenge in today's world.
As you were speaking, I was thinking about my days in the kitchen,
Mm,
in front of the stove. Like if you think of like a really hot, you turn up, when you're sauteing or frying something, you turn up the heat really high, you know, and it's basically a quick response to um, cooking something fast. And
mm,
so sometimes you need that burst of flame to really get through something. Say you're moving or something, or you're got some, you need extra, an extra oomph. But that when it's a long and steady burn, like when it's a long and steady fire, it's more of a several hour simmer when you're making a stock, when you're making something that's going to be more enduring. And so when you were talking about that, I was thinking about how really we are nature and everything is connected. And like, so when you're thinking about your fire right now, think about cooking your dinner. Like, what do is it something you just are gonna drop into some boiling water for just a few minutes and then blanch? You're just getting started with something. Because a lot of times, and I know, like, when I see it in my students a lot, is like they go out the door like with a full fry flame, and and it sizzles out really quickly. But the longer, and this was even for me, it was like, okay, well, I taught something one year, and it was like, well, oh, how am I gonna, I want to change it up all the time instead of having that simmer where I refine it and I refine the tastes of it, and how I can learn to work with my own flame, and so that I can have more long lasting projects.
mhm.
I don't know where that came in, and when you were talking about it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thought back to where I learned about that.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating to hear you talk about that. And what it made me think about is, I use that metaphor of a pot simmering with students, studying shamanism and sharing on Facebook and sharing with each other. Is that when you get really, really beautiful information from the spirits, if you let it simmer, um, it really goes deep inside of you. But what so many shamanic students do, and we see this on Facebook all the time, is they take the top off the pot too quickly
Mm-hmm.
because they just want to share immediately. It's like you don't take the time to let that fire keep cooking, because you want to be cooked, but you don't want to be overcooked, but you want to let it cook at the same time. And some people don't even let the cooking process start. It's as soon as the ingredients are put in, they take off the pot and lose all the power, because they let the steam out. And so it does. It's a very interesting dance with fire, whether it's a simmering, but a powerful simmering where it's cooking. But the point of it is, do you have enough fire to move forward? Do you have enough fire where you feel that your life force is strong enough, to withstand the changes that are happening to everything in life right now? Nothing in life is escaping the changes that are happening. And do you have the fire, inside, to not burn up, but to not burn out? So we thought that, um, we could do a little journey today and just check in and see where your own inner fire, is going, um, and asking, how to either stoke it a little bit more, turn up the heat a little bit more so that you have the reserves to, um, move through, the challenges, or do you have to calm the fire down a bit because you're just getting a little bit too out of control at this time, and you're getting overcooked? I think a lot of us are getting overcooked right now.
I think so. We've been in our ovens for a little bit too long here, so like how do we pull ourselves out of that oven now? Well, you're going to do the journey today, and I'm really excited about it.
So, we have this beautiful image up to inspire you to go deep within and discover where your light's going, and your light is, coming from your inner fire. These mushroom people, check out their inner fire, check out their inner strength, and, do a body scan on your body. So if you want to drum or rattle with me, or clap your hands, or tap on a desk, it really helps to maintain your focus and your concentration when you're trying to really go deep within, to go to the depths needed to make the changes, to move back into the flow of evolution, and into the flow of life, and into the flow of strength, as our DNA was given to us. It was given to us to live a good, strong life, and to follow our passion and our destiny of why we came here. And so much of what we need right now is the fuel to go within and find that harmony that lives inside of us, and find that deep peace that lives inside of us, and find that inner strength and inner knowing that lives inside of us. But that takes being in touch with your inner fire and your inner strength. And so put your hands on your heart and allow yourself to use your imagination to just drop down into your body. Imagine that your body is a landscape in nature. Just make it up. And there's a fire that's burning in this landscape in nature, in harmony. It's a fire pit. And this fire pit is a metaphor of the fire of life. It matches the energy of the sun. They're both complete light. They light us up. They light us up with the strength that we need to move forward. And so imagine that you have a fire pit inside of you. And just notice if the fire is burning, the flames are going up too high, and it looks like they might be creating a bit of danger. Or maybe the fire is just about out, and you realize that you have to blow on it with the breath, just like the wind stokes the fire. And you might have to feed a little bit more wood, which comes from the earth. So you might need a little bit more grounding. How balanced is your inner fire? Again, seeing that inner fire as a metaphor of a fire pit. Do you have a beautiful fire pit where you can feel that fire is burning strong, but not too strong? Just notice, don't judge. And simply ask fire for a few words of guidance on how you can harmonize and balance the fire that lives inside of you. Allow fire to give you a message of inspiration. Many people are afraid of fire because it can burn out of control. But again, your own inner fire can burn out of control. So balance it out now. We all say together that through our intention and through our connection to spirit and through our connection to our body, we all intend to balance our fires into a place of harmony right now, so that everyone doing this journey together, our fires are all burning in perfect harmony together. Let's imagine that for a minute. What a beautiful image. So, I know this journey is short, but it's time to return. And you can continue to do this work on your own. So take a deep breath and feel your feet connecting deeply with the earth. And feel your fire having a nice hum inside of you, giving you the energy, the resilience, and the life force to move forward and not let life stop you. And with gratitude in your heart, take a moment and open up your eyes, and we're all back.
Oh, I love that. In deference to what both you and I tell our students, I don't want to really talk about your journey until you've really interpreted it. But I will give you a little short on that one, was that the fire reminded me that I go to the fire a lot to give to it, like, take this energy, take to transform it. But I rarely ask for its gifts back. And
Mm,
so I was shown that it's a circle
mhm.
that I give and it gives back. So I think that that's an important message to share. And a lot of people probably do that. We're taught to give to the fire, but do we receive from the fire?
That's beautiful, Renee. That's a
Hmm.
beautiful message to end on. We need to receive the gifts of the fire so
Hmm.
that we can all move forward together and that our fires all burn in beautiful harmony together. So thank you, everyone. And we do receive notices, besides your wonderful comments, that we're getting more subscribers on a regular basis. But we really want to share and touch the hearts of people. And we put a lot of energy into the work that we do. And so we hope that you'll be willing to tell people about our little subscribe button on Shamans TV and just hit that button. It doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden going to be on an email list or get emails or anything. Just support our work. And let's have this be a full circle where we all support each other. So I send you all my love and blessings.
Thank you.